Okay, I promise it is not going to be the Tracy show today. It just kind of presented itself this way. So we are just running with it. So this will be my last session, which is going to be on follow up. And then I get to be a participant and watch all the other consultants with their amazing information. So this session is on follow up, and I don't see anyone live. So hopefully some of you are going to decide to come on. Let's see, because I show that I'm in. Oh, there we go. Now I'm like, it always makes me nervous. Am I in the right place? So good deal. We got 3 people, so I know you guys are on. All right, so we're going to talk about follow up. Follow up is absolutely one of the most critical things you can do in this business to be successful. People commonly will ask me, they will say, okay, Tracy, you've obviously built a really good business. How have you been so successful? And the real simple answer is by following up, providing customer service, which comes from following up. And I know for some people, they really struggle with this part of the business because they see it as, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to be that gal. Well, if you're doing it the right way, then the reality is you're not being any of those things. You're being a good consultant and you're actually taking care of your customer. So here's what we know. There's no one way to do follow-up. There's lots of different ways to do follow-up as long as you consistently come up with a system and you work it. Now, years ago, early as a consultant, I had the privilege of going to see Belinda Ellsworth live and in person. She's a phenomenal direct selling trainer, and she presented on the 222 method. So the 222 method is basically that you're going to respond on 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. But again, if it's 3 days, if you like 3 weeks better, the reality is to just do the follow up. You can tweak it to what you feel is the best system for you. I have followed the 222 plan. I find it to be perfect. And so that is exactly what I do. Now, my follow-up systems have changed significantly over time, and I'm sure they will continue because just like all things, times evolve, situations, circumstances evolve, and so we have to do the same in our business. So for me, initially, I loved the file folder system. I had a file folder, and that folder just is how I tracked everything. And then as we developed, we had a binder system, and the binder system was great for a long time. In fact, I know some of you guys, how many of you guys use the binder system? The binder system is really, really, really important to a lot of people that don't like the whole digital options. So if you would like to try the binder system, or if you're not sure, but you still like that whole tangible paper, pencil type of method, then I would definitely encourage you to check it out. So you're going to find more information on that if you go to your workstation under training and search binder. There's actually corporate training on the binder system. So that may be the perfect thing for you to do. Next up, of course, is what I like to use, which is more of the digital version. Now, I use Project Broadcast. That is a texting app service. I switched over to that. Well, I've been using it for a couple of years, and then once we did away with Amy, or Amy did away with themselves, I should say, which was a follow-up app, I then have incorporated my Project Broadcast to take over the majority of my follow-up. And so I do that by using my workstation. I track my orders whenever I get orders. Now, these orders can be from people who have placed their PWS orders. They are people who've came to my office and have purchased product that I have on hand. There are people that have just personally sent me text messages or emails. So any and all ways that I get orders or through events, home parties, I'm going to be doing the exact same follow-up system. So in 2 days, sometime sooner, they will get a response from me just thanking them for, their purchase, making sure they got home with everything. In 2 weeks, I'm going to follow up with them, and I'm going to touch base, and I'm just going to say something very simple like, I just want to make sure that you've got your new Flaunt Your Feathers warmer out of the box and that you're loving it. Or how are you liking that blueberry cheesecake fragrance, just some. I try to personalize it if I can, just so that they know I'm actually paying attention so to what they ordered and making it more personal. Or if there's anything else that I like learned from them, then I'm going to as well go ahead and be sharing that too. So, I'll throw in something just to make, because I want to create that relationship. That's part of the benefit of follow-up, is building those relationships so that people want to continue to do business with you, and they pick you, they choose you. There are choices. I mean, in my neighborhood alone, there's 4 Scentsy consultants. So if I don't do a good job in following up, it's not going to be hard for them to find someone else. In the community I live in, there's a gazillion Scentsy consultants. Angela McElwain, one of our directors, lives a mile from me. Jackie Duran lives like 2 miles from me. I mean, there's a lot. So I think it's really important for us to know we should never be frustrated or upset with our customers if they find somewhere else to go, because in reality, if we were doing our job, they wouldn't have a reason to go anywhere else. And that is one of the things I hear the most is, I love Scentsy, but I had to buy stuff at XYZ store because I couldn't find a consultant to help me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is the absolute last thing that we certainly want anybody to ever have to say or have that problem. And it's not going to happen if you're taking care of them. Okay. Now, I know some of you guys, maybe you don't use Project Broadcast, totally fine, because you do have to pay a monthly fee for Project Broadcast. I did it old school for a long time, just text messaging. I kept a sheet. I still have a spreadsheet actually where I document everyone's purchases, the date they purchased from me, and the amount, because I keep a running total so that I can recognize my top purchasers at the end of the year. And I like to do some shout outs and just some special, like this last year. I did those little reindeer boxes with the Bitty Buddies, and I did some boxes for them. Last year, I think I sent them the Moisture Medley, like my top 10 customers. So I try to do something, and I like to keep track. But I used to just do manual text messages, and I just copied and pasted similar type messages to those I needed to follow up with. Of course, email. And I do use email for some of my consultants or some of my follow-up, just because I know that is like their preferred method, and that's how I've always communicated with them. And if you didn't know this already with Gmail, and probably other email providers too, I just don't know because I use Gmail, you can create templates and you can schedule emails out. So if someone buys something from you today, you could go in and schedule an email to do the 2-day follow-up, the 2-week follow-up, and the 2-month follow-up. So you can already have all of that done. So that is something to consider too if you didn't know that was an option, or maybe you just prefer the email way. I do monthly follow-up as well through the mail. My last 150 customers get something in the mail from me. It varies month to month. Later in the day, we're going to hear from 2 of our Bliss sisters that are going to be sharing how they do their monthly mailings. So again, maybe you can't afford to do it every month, but you can do it every other month, maybe every 3rd month. Maybe you just do it twice a year when we have a catalog change. The goal is just to do something and to make sure that you are staying present with your customer base and that you are separating yourself from everyone else. Remember, they have choices. So it's important that you take care of them so they have no reason to go anywhere else. And you're going to see different consultants do different things. Some of you guys live to do this really pretty happy mail, and that's fantastic. And I think it's really great. I do not get any joy from that. So mine get very simple monthly mailing. There's nothing fancy or elaborate about it. And one of my now team members, who was one of my customers for a long time, she said, Tracy, I didn't know what anybody else was getting from their consultant. I was just happy that you acknowledged me and that you sent me a thank you and that you sent something, which typically was a scent circle or sometimes just a postcard. So don't get hung up on who's doing what. Find a system that you think is going to work for you. Be willing to adapt and to change. If you don't think it's working, try a different system. Like I said, I've had to make multiple changes, and I'm sure I'm going to have to make multiple more. And I'm always looking for new and different ways to be better. That's the other thing too. So if someone was doing a session tomorrow, next week, next month on follow-up, I'm going to be checking in. And I'm going to be checking in because maybe I can get a little nugget of information that's going to make me better. So I hope this was helpful. Super excited. Up next, let's see, we've got our very own Lisa Sanderson, who was one of our top sponsoring consultants for the group in 2022. And she is going to be sharing on sponsoring one-on-one. So be sure to check back. That is going to occur here in approximately 6 minutes. So if not, check out the hashtag Lookout 2022. I'm sorry, 2023. Oh my goodness. I got to move forward here. 2023 and hashtag sponsoring. All right. Have a fabulous day.